Imagine a man who owned nothing, feared nothing, and questioned everything. A man who walked barefoot through the streets of ancient Athens, stopping strangers, leaders, soldiers, and scholars, not to teach them what he knew, but to prove how little they truly understood. This man had no wealth, no political power, and no army behind him. Yet his words were so dangerous that the most powerful city in the world decided he must die. Why? Because he dared to ask the questions everyone else avoided. Because he challenged the comfortable illusions people lived with. Because he believed that truth matters more than popularity, more than safety, more even than life itself. This is the story of Socrates, the philosopher who changed the world without writing a single book. A man who turned questioning into an art, conversation into a weapon, and truth into a mission worth dying for. His ideas shook Athens, shaped the minds of Plato and Aristotle, and built the foundations of Western philosophy. But behind the legend lies a human story of courage, doubt, rebellion, and sacrifice. And today, we dive deep into the life of the man who died for truth. Socrates is remembered today as one of the greatest philosophers who ever lived. But what makes him truly extraordinary is not just the ideas he taught. It is the fact that he chose to die rather than abandon the search for truth. More than 2,400 years ago, in the city of Athens, Socrates transformed the direction of human thought using nothing more than questions, curiosity, and the courage to challenge what everyone else blindly accepted as truth. His life remains a powerful reminder that philosophy is not simply a collection of theories. It is a way of living, a method of thinking, and at its highest point, a commitment to truth even when truth comes at a great cost. This script explores the life, ideas, trial, and legacy of Socrates in deep detail, revealing how one man changed the world without writing a single book. Socrates was born in 470 BCE in Athens, a city admired for its art, culture, and democratic politics. But despite living in a society that valued learning, Socrates himself was nothing like the typical intellectual of his time. He did not dress elegantly, he did not care for money, and he avoided public fame. Instead, he walked through the busy streets of Athens barefoot, engaging ordinary people, merchants, craftsmen, soldiers, and politicians, in conversations that often began with simple questions, but ended up shaking their deepest beliefs. To many Athenians, he appeared strange, but to others, he was a visionary who believed that the unexamined life is not worth living. His method, the Socratic method, was based on asking questions that forced people to think more deeply, challenging their assumptions and exposing contradictions in their beliefs. One of Socrates' most important insights was recognizing the limits of human knowledge. According to a famous story, the Oracle of Delphi declared that Socrates was the wisest man in Athens. Socrates himself refused to believe it. He began questioning politicians, poets, and craftsmen, people who were supposed to be experts, only to discover that they believed they knew far more than they actually did. Socrates concluded, "I am wise because I know that I know nothing." This statement does not mean he knew literally nothing. Instead, he meant that true wisdom begins when one recognizes their own ignorance. Most people in Athens, like most people today, had strong opinions on everything, but rarely understood the reasoning behind them. Socrates made it his mission to awaken people from this intellectual sleep. His method of questioning soon became famous. When someone claimed to know what courage is, Socrates would ask, "What is courage?" If someone claimed to know what justice is, he would ask, "What is justice?" Through repeated questioning, he revealed that people often relied on vague definitions, emotional beliefs, or inherited opinions without truly understanding their own claims. This process, though enlightening, also irritated many Athenians because it exposed their lack of real knowledge. Yet Socrates believed that this discomfort was necessary. Just as a midwife helps bring a child into the world, Socrates believed he was helping people give birth to truth within themselves. He saw philosophy as a lifelong journey of questioning, self-examination, and moral improvement. Despite his deep commitment to truth, Socrates' beliefs increasingly put him at odds with the leaders of Athens. The city was recovering from political turmoil after losing the Peloponnesian War to Sparta. Many Athenians were suspicious of anyone who challenged old traditions. Socrates' habit of questioning powerful figures and encouraging the youth to think independently made him a target. His critics accused him of corrupting the young and introducing new gods, charges that were politically motivated. In reality, Socrates never taught rebellion, he taught critical thinking. But to insecure leaders, critical thinking was a threat. In 399 BCE, Socrates was put on trial. Despite the seriousness of the charges, he refused to defend himself in a way that would please the jury. Instead, he used the trial as an opportunity to explain his mission. He argued that he served the city by helping citizens examine their souls and their moral character. If he were silenced, Athens would lose a voice that encouraged truth and virtue. Socrates told the jury that he could not stop practicing philosophy, even if ordered to do so, because obeying the love of truth was more important than obeying the opinions of men. His courage shocked many in the courtroom. Nevertheless, the jury found him guilty. When asked what punishment he believed he deserved, Socrates famously suggested that he should be rewarded by the city for his service. This angered the jurors further, and they sentenced him to death by drinking poison hemlock. Friends urged him to escape, but Socrates refused. He believed that escaping would dishonor the laws of Athens, which he had enjoyed and benefited from all his life. Even in the face of death, he remained committed to his principles. Socrates spent his final days calmly discussing philosophy with his students, including Plato, who would later become one of the most influential thinkers in history. On the day of his execution, he drank the poison with peace and dignity, becoming a symbol of intellectual courage and integrity. His death was not the end of his story, it was the beginning of his legend. Through Plato's writings, Socrates' ideas spread far beyond Athens, influencing Western philosophy, ethics, education, and democratic thought for centuries. The philosophy of Socrates changed the world in several deep and lasting ways. First, he shifted the focus of philosophy from studying nature to studying human beings, their values, beliefs, and moral responsibilities. Instead of asking how the universe works, Socrates asked how we should live. He believed that knowledge and virtue are inseparable. If someone truly understands what is good, they will naturally do good. Therefore, the purpose of education is not to memorize facts, but to cultivate wisdom and character. This approach laid the foundation for moral philosophy and inspired later thinkers like Plato, Aristotle, and countless philosophers throughout history. Second, Socrates introduced a new method of thinking, the Socratic method, which remains the foundation of modern education, law, and scientific inquiry. By challenging assumptions and seeking clear definitions, Socrates showed that truth is discovered through dialogue, reasoning, and critical thinking. This method empowers people to think for themselves instead of blindly accepting tradition or authority. In classrooms, courtrooms, and research institutions today, the Socratic method continues to shape how we learn and seek truth. Third, Socrates demonstrated the moral power of intellectual integrity. He believed that it is better to suffer injustice than to commit it. When faced with the possibility of escaping death, he refused, because doing so would violate his principles. His life teaches us that truth is not just something we speak, but something we live. He showed that philosophy is not about winning arguments, but about becoming a better human being. His example challenges us to examine our own beliefs and actions with honesty and courage. Finally, the legacy of Socrates lives on because he addressed timeless questions. What is a good life? What is justice? How should we treat others? What does it mean to be wise? These questions remain relevant today, and his method of exploring them through careful reasoning continues to guide people who seek meaning and clarity in a complex world. Socrates may have died in ancient Athens, but his ideas continue to shape modern ethics, democracy, and intellectual life. In conclusion, Socrates was more than a philosopher. He was a revolutionary of the mind. He believed that truth is worth pursuing, even when it leads to discomfort, conflict, or death. His courage in questioning assumptions, his commitment to moral integrity, and his willingness to sacrifice his life for truth make him one of the most influential figures in human history. Through his life and death, he taught the world that philosophy is not just a discipline. It is a way of living with honesty, humility, and courage. The man who claimed to know nothing ended up teaching humanity everything about the power of truth.